They laughed at Edison, said he was wasting his time chasing light from a filament that refused to burn. They scoffed at Ford, said a carriage without a horse was foolishness, the ramblings of a man unhinged by ambition. They dismissed Walt Disney, said he lacked imagination, that he wasn't creative enough to make it in the real world. But each of them did something you must now learn to do. They kept going when no one believed in them. Because belief is cheap when the vision is clear, when the evidence is stacked, when the crowd is clapping. But belief becomes sacred holy when you stand alone in a dark room with only the flicker of your dream to light the way. The question is not whether they believe in you, it's whether you do. It's whether you're willing to burn for something no one else can see, when the silence around you grows loud, when the ones closest to you turn their heads, shake them, and say, "Be realistic." That's when you must become your own oxygen. That's when you build an unshakable spirit that doesn't beg for applause or understanding. That's when you realize greatness is not made in crowds, it's made in crucibles. The fire forges the man, and the absence of belief, that is the flame. You see, history has always been written by the defiant, those who looked out at a world that doubted them and said, "You may not believe in me, but I do." Belief is not a vote. You do not need a majority to be great. You do not need their permission to persist. You only need to declare war on doubt, not just theirs, but your own. They won't understand your hunger. They'll tell you to slow down, to play it safe, to be grateful for what you have. They won't see the empire in your bones or the fire behind your eyes. That's not their fault, it's not their dream. It was given to you, carved into your chest by something higher. And what a tragedy it would be to let it rot, because they couldn't recognize its shape. Napoleon Hill once said, "You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul." But you can't be a captain looking to the crowd for directions. You lead because you know something they don't, that vision is invisible to most. That conviction must come before confirmation. You plant the seeds of destiny long before the harvest ever comes. Every day you keep going, you cast a vote for who you will become. Not for who they think you are, but for the person clawing his way out of you brick by brick, fight by fight. And yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will feel thankless. But the silence is sacred. It's the classroom where the greats are trained. Remember this. Belief from others is a reward, but belief in yourself, that is requirement. They will doubt you because you remind them of what they gave up on. Your persistence is a mirror they can't bear to look in. Your ambition will offend those who have settled. Your fire will make them uncomfortable. That's how you know you're on the right path, when your very existence challenges the status quo. Don't you dare dim to fit into their shadows. You were not built to blend in. You were not born for average. And if they can't see your worth, show them what value looks like in motion. Build the thing, launch the vision, train like a machine, work like your breath depends on it, because in a way it does. This world does not reward potential, it rewards proof. And the proof is in your persistence. The most powerful stories begin with disbelief. They begin with rejection letters, with doors slammed shut, with laughter behind backs. They begin with lonely nights and broken bank accounts. They begin when no one is watching, but you are still grinding, still believing, still building, and then one day, the silence breaks. One day they'll ask how you did it, and you'll look back not with bitterness, but with a fire in your chest and say, "I kept going when no one believed." And in that moment you'll understand it was never about them, it was always about you. The truth is, the climb is supposed to be hard. If belief came easy, everyone would do it, but you're not here to be everyone. You are here to become something rare, a person who continues when quitting seems justified, a person who moves forward when standing still feels safer, a person who builds his wings on the way down because there is no other option but to rise. There's a sacred kind of strength born only in isolation, when your back is against the wall, when the voices have gone silent, when you stand alone in your decision. That's when your character is chiseled. That's when you become dangerous, because no man is more powerful than the one who walks alone with purpose. Lincoln knew this. They mocked him for his fail. Years 8 elections lost, a business gone under, a nervous breakdown. They saw a failure, but he saw a foundation. He knew each setback was shaping something in him, not destroying it. He understood something you must now understand. Just because others can't see your destiny doesn't mean it isn't real. The world didn't believe in Colonel Sanders either, not at first. Over 1,000 rejections before one person said yes. 1,000 doors slammed in his face before the recipe caught fire. Imagine if he'd stopped at 900. Imagine if he'd let their disbelief become his own. You wouldn't be reading this. His story would be buried beneath a pile of almosts and what-ifs. You can't let that happen to yours. The path to greatness is paved with days when no one claps, no one calls, and no one cares. But you show up anyway. You don't show up for validation. You show up because the vision demands it. You show up because the thing inside you refuses to be silenced. You show up because regret is louder than rejection, and you will not carry it. When no one believes in you, that is not a curse. It is a gift. It is the gift of self-reliance. It is the permission to stop seeking approval and start becoming inevitable. Because the minute you decide that belief starts and ends with you, something changes. You stop asking, you start doing, and make no mistake, the doubters will return. They always do, but by then it'll be too late. By then your roots will be too deep, your fire too hot, your momentum too strong. You won't need them. You'll have outgrown the very room they tried to keep you small in. You must stop treating your dream like a side project. Stop waiting for applause to validate effort. Your mission is not a hobby, it's a declaration. A declaration that says, I will become the person who refuses to vanish. Winners aren't just talented, they are relentless. They are the ones who get up one more time than they're knocked down. They are the ones who plant their flag on a mountain no one else was willing to climb. And they climb it not because it's easy, but because it calls to them. You are being called right now, not by the world, not by the noise, but by the truth inside of you. The part that knows this struggle has a purpose. That every ounce of pain, every cold shoulder, every closed door is sharpening your edge. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And what grows from that soil will be unstoppable, but you have to stay in it. Stay long enough to see the seeds sprout. Stay long enough to watch your own disbelief melt under the heat of daily discipline. Stay until the silence is replaced with momentum, until doubt is replaced with data, until isolation gives way to impact. You don't wait to feel ready. You become ready by moving forward. So take the rejection and wear it like armor. Take their doubt and turn it into fuel. Take every you'll never make it, and let it echo through your bones until it becomes a battle cry. Because your story, the one you're writing with blood, sweat, and stubbornness, will one day be the proof for someone else that it's possible. And isn't that the point? To become the evidence that greatness doesn't need permission. There's a moment in every great life when the noise fades, when the cheering stops and you're left with nothing but a question echoing inside your mind. Will you keep going anyway? That's the test. Not how you perform when the lights are on, but how you move when the world turns its back. Do you think Carnegie waited for applause? No. He made steel the backbone of a nation because he saw a world no one else had imagined yet. His belief wasn't rented, it was earned in silence, in the unseen labor, in the stubborn pursuit of something larger than himself. And that's what you're building right now, not just results, but resilience. Not just progress, but proof. Every step forward in the dark is a statement. I believe this matters even when you don't. I believe I matter even when you doubt me. I believe this mission is real even when it's invisible to the world. People think success is about timing or luck, but those are just footnotes. The real story is belief under pressure, will under fire, vision when everything around you says quit. The man who can keep walking through that. He becomes inevitable because here's the truth. No one will hand you your dream. No one will wake you up at 5 a.m. No one will silence the doubt or fix your habits or carry the weight of your purpose. That is your job, and it's the most sacred job you'll ever have. If they don't believe in you now, that's fine. It's not your job to convince them. It's your job to become undeniable. Let your consistency speak louder than their commentary. Let your growth choke their doubt. Let your results turn their laughter into silence. There's nothing more dangerous than a man who keeps going without applause, because he's not playing for approval, he's playing for legacy. And legacy isn't built in sprints. It's carved out over years of showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, when it feels like no one cares. But you care, and that's enough. One day you'll look back and see that every lonely night, every internal battle, every step forward in the dark, it was all sharpening you. The disbelief around you wasn't a wall, it was a whetstone. And now you are a blade. So take this moment, this ache, this tension, this doubt, and smile, because it means you are in the middle of the making. The clay hasn't hardened yet. The storm hasn't passed. But you're still here, still climbing, still becoming, and becoming is always louder than believing. Do not let the absence of their faith cost you your future. Do not make your dreams small enough to fit inside their limited imagination. They weren't given your vision. They weren't given your mountain. You were. So carry it like a crown, not a curse. Let them doubt. Let them watch. Let them fade. Because when your time comes, and it will come, the same people who couldn't see your worth will say, I always knew. But you'll know the truth. They'll rewrite the story when you win. They'll act like they always believed in you, but your memory will be sharper than their revision. You'll remember the quiet, the silence after you spoke your dreams into rooms that looked back with blank stares. The way your voice trembled the first time you said, I'm going to do this, and no one echoed back. That silence wasn't empty, it was fertile. It forced you inward, forced you to confront yourself, and that confrontation, that's what forges greatness. When there's no applause, you learn to clap for yourself. When there's no map, you draw your own. When there's no light, you become the spark. That's what Edison did. 10,000 failures, not because he needed 10,000, but because he refused to stop one short. Do you think the world believed in him after failure number 7,834? Of course not. But he believed in electricity before the world could see the light. You must believe in your fire before anyone else can feel its warmth. The most powerful force on earth is a human being with a made-up mind, not a hopeful mind, not a wishful mind, a decided mind, because decision is the birthplace of discipline, and discipline, when married to vision, becomes a weapon. A tool that cuts through delay, discouragement, and disbelief. That's why you wake up early. That's why you train when no one's watching. That's why you write, build, grind, and prepare as if the whole world is already watching, even when it's not. And one day they will. But by then, you won't be doing it for them. You'll do it because it's who you've become. Because by the time belief catches up, you'll already be deep into your next mountain. Already chasing the next evolution of your purpose, because true achievers don't stop at vindication. They don't pause for recognition. They move because stillness feels like suffocation. They grow because standing still is death. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because he lacked imagination. That same man went bankrupt trying to build a vision too large for anyone else to see. But he didn't need the world to believe in his vision. He needed to protect it from the world's limitations. And in doing so, he built something the world now calls magical. That's what you're doing. You're not proving them wrong, you're proving yourself right. You're not chasing applause, you're protecting the dream. You're not addicted to success, you're committed to the calling, and this calling will demand everything from you. It will test your patience, stretch your capacity, strip away your ego, and demand your total transformation. But it will also give you something the crowd never can, a life built from the inside out, so the next time they doubt you, say nothing, let your discipline speak, let your consistency echo, let your results roar. Because belief, once self-ignited, becomes unshakable, and once you've tasted that flame, no amount of darkness can put it out. The man who walks alone sharpens his focus. Without the noise of approval, without the cushions of comfort, without the soft hands of encouragement, he becomes something else entirely, something rare. He becomes unyielding. This is the soil from which destiny is grown, the rugged, lonely path. Not the red carpet, not the parade, but the dirt road you choose to walk long after everyone else has turned back. And with every step, you're not just proving them wrong. You're writing a story so powerful, it redefines what's possible. Look at Lincoln, mocked, dismissed, defeated time and again. 8 elections lost, countless personal tragedies, and still he rose, not because the people believed in him, but because he believed in the purpose that lived within him. That belief turned a broken man into a towering figure of history, not despite the pain because of it. So don't hide your scars. Don't resent the doubters. They are the architects of your inner fire. Let their disbelief be the friction that lights the fuse. Let their silence become the void you fill with thunder. Let the absence of support become the presence of unrelenting purpose. Every time you rise without applause, you build something deeper, stronger, more permanent. You don't just become successful, you become immovable. Understand this. The man who needs no audience cannot be controlled. The man who moves without validation cannot be stopped. The man who breathes belief into his own lungs, who trains when no one is clapping, who studies when no one is watching, who fights when no one is cheering, that man is a force of nature, and one day the world will wake up to what you've become, but by then you won't even need their praise. You will have become the storm that carved the path, the fire that warmed the cold, the truth that silenced doubt. You will have become the living embodiment of a single idea. That belief in yourself in the face of silence, doubt, and resistance is the greatest power a human being can hold. So keep walking, keep working, keep breathing life into your vision, because when no one believes in you, that is not the end, that is the beginning of a legend.